Live from Gregory Studios here in Clifton, New Jersey. It's another episode of Game Face. I'm your host, the one and only Face. Behind the windows, behind the glass, we have super producer, my man, the marvelous one, Marvin.
Bravery up!
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And guys, I'm not in a good mood today. So for anybody that's watching, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for clicking. We're going to give you a full show, a real show. So let's just start it off like this.
Everybody plays the fool sometimes. There's no exception to the rule.
Yeah, and that was Everybody Plays the Fool. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with that song. As a Yankee fan, I think you should be very familiar with it by now. For this last decade, you know, now counting 2009, I would have to say, as a Yankee fan, you have to be very, very familiar with that song and with that sentiment. The Yankees are not going to win a World Series. The Yankees are not even going to get to the World Series until some of the things that I have talked about in the past, before I had this show, okay? So it wasn't aired live, but from 2017, when the Yankees lost that Game 7 in Houston, the Yankees have to do a few things. The first thing they have to do is get starting pitching. Not just any starting pitching, not just a useful arm, like a J.A. Happ. If the Yankees are going to get past teams like Houston and the Boston Red Sox, they have to get top-line pitching. They have to get bulldogs. They have to get grinders. They have to get winners. That is the only way they are going to make it to the World Series. I said this in 2017. And if you listen around baseball, I wasn't the only one. Every analyst on MLB.com, MLB Network, SNY here, locally in New York, everybody knew that the Yankees had to get starting pitching. That was their main flaw, if any, was starting pitching. Okay. The second thing, and this was just me. The Yankees need balance in their lineup. The Yankees traditionally have always been a left-handed hitting team. You play in Yankee Stadium. It's 314 down the line. Everybody knows that. You hear people whine and complain about it enough. So the Yankees needed left-handed hitting. They needed balance. They needed complementary players to complement. They needed complemented players for their right-handed power like Judge and Sanchez. That was the second thing. Another thing this team needed was some versatility, a little bit of speed, guys that can go from first to third, guys that can score on a single from second, guys that can steal a base here and there, put some pressure on the defense. And I know that baseball's not played that way anymore. Some teams still do it. Some managers still use, the speed game, stolen bases, move runners over. But these are the things you have to do to win a championship. Why? Because I saw this from 1996 to 2001. This is what I saw from a great GM, a great man. And his name was Gene Michael. Gene Michael, who passed away last year, orchestrated the last Yankee dynasty. Make no mistake. It was not Brian Cashman. Oh, yeah, he parachuted into a made-ready roster. The core four was already there, including Bernie. So Brian Cashmen pretty much had it set. All he had to do was add a little of this and a little bit of that. But the structure of those championship teams from 96 to 2001 was built, orchestrated by Gene Michael, and also Buck Showalter, and also Bob Watson. Bob Watson, a man who nobody wants to give credit to. A man who traded for Graham Lloyd, who was a huge, huge piece of the Yankees championship run, of that great bullpen that they had back in the late 90s and early 2000s. So once again, the ingredients, what the Yankees needed to do to get to a championship, that was the road. These are the things that they needed to do. You have in place a GM named Brian Cashmen, who is pretty much crowned the king or prince of New York. There should not be anything that Brian Cashmen can't do if you listen to sports talk radio here in New York. There's nothing he can't do. He's the greatest GM to ever live, as far as they're concerned. As far as the writers, he can do no wrong. Anything that needs to get done, Cashmen is the guy. Well, let me tell you something. I asked for those three things. I know I'm not a GM. I've never played Major League Baseball in my life, people. I'm looking you dead in the camera. But I know baseball. I've been watching it my whole life. I was practically born in Yankee Stadium. When my mother, the woman who raised me, passed away, we buried her with her Paul O'Neill doll. Paul O'Neill was her favorite player. I do know baseball. I might not run a team, and I'll never run a sports franchise. But one thing I do know, I know baseball. And I know the components of building a championship team, regardless of all this analytics garbage. And that's what it is. Most of it, a lot of it, is garbage. Some of it is useful. Some of it is good, if used the right way, if employed the right way. But it is frustrating garbage. Cue me some music, please. Yes, see, today I have officially graduated. I have graduated from Brian Cashmen, the current operating CEO, GM, executive officer of the New York Yankees. I have graduated because now I know that what Face says and what Face believes in is true. How do I know it's true? Because Brian Cashmen proved me right, people. He proved me right. I told you, you cannot win a championship with just deploying your bullpen. It's impossible. You will wear your bullpen out. But evidently, the great Brian Cashmen, no, he doesn't believe in that. You see, we have a plan. See, we can script a World Series title to our New York fans. We can script it. We'll tell Masahiro Tanaka, no matter how good you're pitching, no matter how much you're dominating, no matter how many outs you're getting, how unhittable you are, how many strikeouts you get, you know what? We're going to take you out of the game. We're going to take you out of the game. And we're going to deploy our bullpen. Even though we have no idea what's going to happen when we bring that other arm in from the bullpen. But we're going to do it because we can predict. We can predict. We can script. See, sports is not like television or movies. It's not like that. Those are scripted. Fever Pitch is scripted. Major League is scripted. Field of Dreams is scripted. But live action baseball, a sporting event, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, you can't script it. That's what makes it so addictive. That's what makes it different. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You have to let it play out. The game has to play itself out. Because if it was scripted, Bucky Dent would have never hit that home run against the Boston Red Sox. Not according to analytics, but he did it. So, Mr. Cashmen, here's what I say to you. I have graduated. I have graduated from you. Because I know what it's going to take for my New York Yankees to win a world championship. The only problem is you're in the way. Yankee fans listening to this, you may think I'm arrogant, you may think I'm pompous, but I love the Yankees. More than just about anything, I love the Yankees. And it is hard, it is gut-wrenching to sit back and watch the GM and the owner, because he's guilty too. He's the enabler. Sit here and embarrass this franchise. You think George Steinbrenner, the great George Steinbrenner, is rolling in his grave right now? The Yankees haven't won a championship since 2009. That's a decade. One full decade. Do you know that the Yankees made history on Saturday night? Oh, we did. We made history. And I'm not talking about the home runs, the 306 home runs, breaking our team record last year. We set a record. We made history. The New York Yankees, for the first time in absolutely almost a century, have not won a pennant in any decade. Think about it. From the trade of Babe Ruth to the Red Sox, from the Red Sox, the Yankees have won pennants 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s. But not this decade. No. But we have the greatest GM in baseball, in sports. We have all the resources that any franchise can have. We're worth billions and billions of dollars. We're on top of the Forbes list of sports teams and how much they're worth with the Dallas Cowboys and Lakers. Yet, despite all the money and resources we put in scouting and his so-called analytics department, this team can't even get to the World Series. There's always another GM that's a little bit better. Like Houston. You know, Houston, we're their bitches now. You know that, right? You do know that. They beat us in 2015. They beat us in 2017. And they beat us in 2019. What Yankee teams do you know have been dominated by other franchises in the playoffs? Only these Yankees. From 2005, from 2019. Because it's not just the Houston Astros. That's our daddies. It's the Detroit Tigers. Oh, yeah. We've lost 3 straight playoff series to the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers, who haven't even won a World Series these past 15 years. Yet the big bad Yankees, Cashman's Yankees, have lost 3 straight series. Starting from 2006, remember? Murderers Row and Cano, remember that? Lost 3 games to 1. How about 2011? Lost 3 games to 2. And then how about the following year, 2012? And that whole fiasco with A-Rod being benched and Raul Ibanez coming in to save the day. But that's when managers were allowed to manage. That's when you had Joe Girardi, who was at the helm. A championship manager, a championship player. So, 3 straight losses to the Detroit Tigers. 3 straight losses to the Houston Astros. And let's not forget our longtime mortal rivals, the Boston Red Sox. The 2004 debacle, the embarrassment, blowing a 3-game lead, 3 games up to nothing lead. And then when we saw him last year, we lost 3 games to 1. We didn't even push him to a 5th game. Once again, an ode to the greatest GM in baseball right now, Brian Cashman. And what I'm saying is fact. It's fact. You can go look it up in Wikipedia and Google everything that I've just said. It's all fact. It's all fact. So I've graduated. Some of you fans out there, Yankee fans, maybe you haven't, but I have. And I'm very proud. Very proud. See, I know what the Yankees stand for. I know what those NY interlocked with those pinstripes mean. It means championship. It means prestige. It means honor. It means greatness. It means respect. It means royalty. That's what the Yankees stand for. But you know what? If you want to believe that Brian Cashman is still the answer to this team, if you believe in his decision making, hey, I don't know. See, I can't deal, or I won't stand for coming in 2nd or 3rd. That's not the Yankee way. The Yankees are about championships. They're about rings. We have 27 of them. Do you honestly, really believe that Brian Cashman should not be fired? If you do, you're not a real Yankee fan. You're not. I'm sorry. You're not a real Yankee fan. If you're willing to settle for making the playoffs every year, but not getting to the World Series, you're not a real Yankee fan. You're just not. I'm sorry. You're not. And for you real Yankee fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. This is about the Yankees. This is about winning. The Yankees are a joke almost now. They're almost a joke. Nobody is afraid of the Yankees anymore. People coming to the Yankees, teams coming to Yankee Stadium. And they win. They clinch. Up there in that big ballpark in the Bronx. They take 2 out of 3. They win back-to-back games. You see him in the dugout laughing. There is no intimidation. There's the fans. These are not the real Yankees. These are not the Yankees that I knew. These are not the Yankees that I grew up watching. The films of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, the Yankee Clipper Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, every other year in the World Series, winning pennants. Yeah, I understand there wasn't 2 or 3 rounds back then, but still, the Yankees set a standard. Right now, the Yankees have no standard. It's all about hitting home runs. That's what we're the champions of. And we couldn't even get that. The lowly Twins took that from us. You get exactly what you push for, what you desire. Cashmen desired home run hitters. He's obsessed with power. He said it himself. I love power, home run hitters. Slowly and gradually, he took this franchise away offensively from the high on base percentage guys, from the guys who are willing to take a walk and battle and grind. With the bases loaded, Didi Gregorius, I love you, baby, but you killed us. You killed us, Didi. But it's not all your fault. I blame it on the manager, and I also blame it on the GM. The Yankees have now become a team, a right-handed power, swing or miss, no 2-strike approach offense. And teams with pitching like the Houston Astros with Verlander and Cole, the Red Sox with Sale, Price, they are making the Yankees pay. You have to go up to the batter's box with a plan. You cannot just go up to the batter's box and just look for a mistake, swing as hard as you can, and pull everything. Gary Sanchez. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what Brian Cashman's going to do this offseason. I know he's still going to be here. I know that. Because he's like family to the Steinbrenners. And anything he tells Hal Steinbrenner, Hal is going to listen. I give you an example. Now here's an article. NewJersey.com, right? Cashman will tell you the Yanks wouldn't have enough dough in their budget to fill their holes if they had assigned Corbin for big bucks. But the lefty is just making $34 million in his first 2 seasons with a 6-year, $140 million contract. J.A. Happ was guaranteed the same $34 million for 2 years, plus a $17 million vesting option for a third. You know and I know that J.A. Happ has been a disaster, a total disaster. You traded half the farm team to the Toronto Blue Jays to bring in an aging, almost 40-year-old J.A. Happ. Once again, a useful arm, not a grinder, not a winner like Verlander or Charlie Morton or Dallas Keuchel. Those 2 pitchers were available this offseason. They both signed for 1 year, respectively, with their teams. You think the Yankees could have used them? You think the Yankees could have taken some money, 10 million, 8 million, 15 million, however it took, and signed those two guys? But no, instead we brought back CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia, the hero of the 2009 World Series. That was a decade ago. CC is done. I love you, baby. You're done. And he should have never been brought back. And it's the truth, and you know it. If the Yankees were really going to win a World Series, if they were serious about contending, they never would have brought CC Sabathia back. I know he's a good clubhouse guy. I know he gets the troops rallied up. I know he's a leader, and you need that. You do need that. I love his leadership. I love it. But he is done. That scene at Yankee Stadium a few nights ago, with tears in his eyes, crying, walking off the mound to a standing ovation. Yes, it was all glory, but it shouldn't have come down to that. It should have never have come down to that. He shouldn't have been on the team. I was shocked this offseason when the Yankees announced that they were bringing CC Sabathia back, because that money could have been used for something else. You could have gave that money to Dallas Keuchel. You had nothing to lose. You didn't have to trade for him. If he pitches well, it's a steal. If he stinks up the joint, what do you have to lose? You've lost nothing. You've only signed him for 1 year, a half a season. No. As I said, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton leaves the Houston Astros. Big game pitcher. Completely shut the Yankees down in Game 7 of the 2017 ALCS. He's available. Do we give him a look? No. No, we just... But we go after Big Maple, right? From Seattle. You go out and you get James Paxton. I have nothing against James Paxton. But did James Paxton really tilt the power gauge in the American League for the Yankees? Did he? Did he tilt the balance of power and intimidation over to the Yankees? I don't think so. I don't think so. And by the way, the James Paxton, nice performance on Game 5 and the standing ovation and the bravado and the backs against the wall. I get all that. But we could have used that in Game 2. See, if you had done that in Game 2, then just maybe there's a chance I'm not making this speech. So you're a dime and a nickel too late. Oh. But let's not forget. My favorite Yankee. My favorite bust of all time. My favorite bust. No, it's not Ed Whitson. It wasn't him. No, not Michael Pineda. No, not him. Carl Pavano? No, not him. Sonny Gray. Wow. Think about what the Yankees gave up for Sonny Gray. See, the point is, it's not that what they gave up to Oakland translated into big-time talent. It's the fact that you could have used those same prospects to get a better pitcher. You could have used those same prospects to get a top pitcher. You could have used those same prospects to get Justin Verlander. But you chose, Brian Cashman, Sonny Gray. He's a number one. Justin Verlander, he's done. We don't want to pay that salary. Why would we want to pay a ridiculous salary for a pitcher who's done? Well, we all see how that turned out. But we're not done there. We're not done. We're not done. No, we're not done. And from the pitching, we go to the offense. Because think about it. It was Brian Cashmen who convinced Hal Steinbrenner to make the trade or complete the trade for Stanton, for Carlos Stanton. Guy who's making $30+ million a year. Was it a $300 million contract? Who has been nothing but a disappointment. I don't want to hear about his 30-something home runs last year and his exactly 100 RBIs. This guy has come up short in every big spot. And what you did is you brought back the whole A-Rod fiasco. Yes, A-Rod. Alexander Rodriguez. Remember the booing. Remember the media. Remember the phone number to the girl, giving her the ball after he got benched by Joe Girardi. Remember Joe Torre batting him 8th in the lineup. My biggest fear when I saw Carlos Stanton strike out 4 times in the opening day at Yankee Stadium last year in 2018, and those fans boo him, that you were bringing back that same dark cloud that had left once A-Rod left his franchise, or at least stopped being a player. Stanton was a move that did not have to be made. It was a huge, huge error on the part of Brian Cashmen. You've got Judge, you've got Sanchez, you've got Gleyber Torres. Hell, you even got Miguel Andujar, which you refused to trade, along with Clint Frazier, for Garrett Cole. See how that all intertwines? It all intertwines. It intertwines. Because if they don't have enough in their budget, which is bullshit. Yeah, I said it, bullshit. It's the Yankees. They print money. But if they didn't have enough to sign Patrick Corbin, who, by the way, is pitching in the World Series for the Washington Nationals tomorrow night. If they didn't have enough money in their budget, it's because of the Stanton deal. You're paying Stanton $30 million a year. You could have taken some of that money, and signed a Patrick Corbin. You could have took some of that money and signed a Charlie Morton. You could have took some of that money and signed a Dallas Keuchel and filled a hole that you need. You don't need Stanton. You never needed him. You know how much right-handed power the Yankees have? The Yankees have enough right-handed power. If Con Edison went out, they could light up and energize this whole goddamn city. That's how much right-handed power. You can't cover your holes by trying to continue to add to your strength. And that's what he's doing. He's saying, I'm going to keep adding to my strength. I'm going to add to the bullpen. I'm going to add to my power. And that's going to cover up the deficiency we have in our pitching. It doesn't work like that. Not in postseason. These teams, these hitters, they're too damn good. And you wore out your bullpen. I mean, it's a disgrace. once again, Brian does what Brian does. And you think they're going to be able to trade Stanton? You're hearing them say, oh no, Stanton's definitely not on the trading block. He's not on the trading block because nobody will take that ridiculous contract. That's why he's not on the trading block. Come on. Who the heck is going to take that contract? And I looked at that contract and it gets worse. It's loaded. It's backloaded. So as he gets older, 33, 34, he's going to be making $40 million. You didn't need another right-handed all or nothing swing or miss hitter. You didn't need that. What you needed was a contact hitter. LeMahieu, great move, but he's just one. You need a couple more. And you also need some balance in that lineup. You need left-handed power. If not left-handed power, left-handed line drive hitters, contact hitters. Shin-Soo Choo, perfect example for Texas. Left-hander, contact hitter, high on base percentage, takes pitches, doesn't strike out much, hits line drives, hits about 20, averages 20 home runs a year. You put him in Yankee Stadium, since you love power, he'll hit close to 30. His RBI production will go up. And he complements Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres. That's how you build a team. Not this garbage with everybody in the lineup right-handed and swinging, jumping out of their freaking spikes, trying to hit curveball and breaking pitches out of the zone. The Yankees, Cashmen, it's time for you to go. It's time to say bye-bye to Brian Cashman. You cannot tell me that everything I said, every point that I made is not justified. You can't. That's the genius of this. It's actual proof. There's proof of this. Now, what are you going to do? What is he going to do this offseason? I'm seeing articles. What can the Yankees do to close the gap? I just told you what the Yankees have to do. I told you that 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago. They need starting pitching, power starting pitching. Strasburg, there's a chance he will opt out of his contract with Washington. Bring him here. Garrett Cole, who you let slip out of your fingers twice. First time, he wanted to go to college, he wanted to play, he didn't want to. Okay, fine. But you had him. And you should have traded Clint Frazier and Miguel Tejada. You should have traded him. The deal was done. In fact, if they wanted Justice Sheffield, you should have traded Justice Sheffield along with him. I hear people say, oh, well, he might not pitch as well with the Yankees because of Larry Rothschild. They don't have the same system or sabermetrics that the Houston Astros use with their spin rate. Regardless, the main thing is, at the very least, you keep him away from the Houston Astros. You let the Houston Astros sneak up right underneath you and snatch him. It was a brilliant move by the Houston Astros. And then to add injury to insult, this trading deadline where the Yankees desperately need pitching. Everybody knows it. Everybody can see it. Stevie Wonder can see it. What did the Yankees do? They go out and get Zach Greinke. Are you kidding me? Mr. Greinke, who can't pitch in New York, you want to say, well, that's not Cashman's fault? Okay, fine. But still, it just seems like the Houston Astros organization and the Boston Red Sox just continue to outmaneuver the Yankees when it comes to the trade deadline in the offseason. Like I said, you're giving Carlos Stanton $30 million a year, $300 million. The Boston Red Sox are paying J.D. Martinez almost a half of that. And he is by far the superior player. He is by far the superior hitter. That signing by Dave Dombrowski, when I heard about it, there was a pain in my side. I'm not lying to you. You know why? Because I knew the Boston Red Sox got their man. That was what they were missing. Power. One power piece. One good right-handed hitter. They got what they needed. The Yankees continue not to. I don't know what to say. I really, really don't know what to tell you. The frustration inside of me is just, it is amazing how Brian Cashman does not get criticized for these moves. Yeah, there's one article there, 2 articles. But it is amazing how the New York media, the sports media, continue to give this guy a pass. And like I said before, when I opened up, that 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, those championship teams, 2001, they won the pennant. They didn't win the championship. Those teams were built by Gene Michael. The core, the structure, everything was in place. Only thing that Cashman had to do was add. And he added 2 big pieces. Those were his best moves. Signing El Duque after he left Cuba, fled Cuba, and Scott Brocious. Cashman gets all the credit in the world from me because those 2 signings were just different makers. Scott Brocious was unbelievable and clutch in the playoffs, and nobody saw that coming. You want to say Chuck Knobloch? Anybody could have signed Chuck Knobloch. The Yankees had no second baseman. What do they have? Andy Fox? Mariano Duncan, I think he had left. Knobloch was a free agent. All the Yankees had to do was throw the most money. So I'm not going to pat him on the back for Chuck Knobloch. I'm sorry. I could have made that move. Anybody could have made that move. Come on. But El Duque, Brocious, and in 2000, the trade for David Justice. That was a big move. But once again, he had to do very little because of the rest of the team. The pitching staff was already in place. Jimmy Key, David Cone, David Wells. I mean, I just don't know what to tell you. I just think he's the most overrated GM in baseball. I really do. I think he got lucky. I think he parachuted into a good situation, with a great franchise, with great players, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams. And I just don't think the original orchestrators of those championship teams gets enough credit. And I think he gets too much. Until he can build a team from scratch by himself, his team. And these guys that are playing, these kids that are playing now, Judge, Gleyber Torres, and Duhar, Sanchez, they're his guys. This is his legacy right now. And right now, they have a legacy. And it might be unfair for me to say, but we keeps it real on this show. Right now, they have a legacy. They're not clutch. They can't come through in big spots in the playoffs. They just don't. They don't. They don't. Judge is guilty too. That's his legacy. This team, this current group of Yankees, they are not clutch. They're just not clutch. Didi was clutch in 2017 and helped carry them. Greg Bird. Can I blame him from Greg Bird? No, I can't blame him for that. But other than that, this team, they're not clutch. They have terrible at-bats in the postseason. They don't have a good approach. And he's the reason behind it. Why do you think he kicked Joe Girardi out? Why? So he can take control. He's running this team. Aaron Boone makes out that lineup with Brian Cashman. If you don't know, then I'm sorry. I got some nice property for you out in Antarctica. I mean, for real. Joe Girardi did not deserve to be fired. He did not deserve it. He took a team. That 2017 team was picked to finish last by a lot of writers. I knew better because they're the Yankees. So they have a certain pedigree. And I like what I saw at the end of the 2016 season from Judge and Sanchez. So I thought the Yankees would be better. He took that team 27 outs from the World Series. 9 innings away from a pennant. And you fired him? That was the biggest, probably, out of all the things that I've listed. Brian Cashman, that was your biggest mistake. It was your biggest mistake. And Joe Girardi, I'm sure he'll find employment somewhere. Cubs. If the Mets have the stones, they have the guts to pay a manager what they deserve, a manager of his caliber. But Brian Cashman did not deserve to be stabbed in the back by Brian Cashman. And that's the thing that bothers me the most. Even with all the disappointments. And like I said, not making the moves to get the pitchers that they need. Continuously getting right-handed hitters, all or nothing hitters. And not adding balance to the lineup. But to throw Joe Girardi out like trash. Joe Girardi didn't deserve that. And how many people out there, how many writers, how many hosts call Brian Cashman out for that? Very few. Very few. You can't blame Aaron Boone. You can't. So I end on this. I presented my case. If I was running the Yankees, which is pretty obviously from where I'm sitting at, I don't. Brian Cashman would be out on his ass. And Goose Gossage, a real champion who has rings, he'd be back in the ballpark. We love you, Goose. If the Yankees do not make it to the World Series next year, he has to go. It's as simple as that. And we can cut the music, DJ Marvin, because we can move on. And I have the rest of my heart attack up here. For these 10 minutes, as I focus and turn quickly, well, let's talk about the World Series real quick. Washington. Hey, I give them a shot. The only thing is, Washington, they've had a long break. It's been at least a week, or over a week since they've clinched. And you can't sit there and tell me that that doesn't affect the momentum of a team. You can't tell me it doesn't. You know, hopefully, they'll go out there and they'll give the Houston Astros a game. They'll give them a series. Because the one thing that the Nationals have that the Yankees don't, pitching. Patrick Corbin, Strasburg, and Scherzer. See, they can match Houston. They can match Greinke. They can match Cole. And they can match Verlander. Now, that bullpen stinks. Let's be honest. They don't have the Yankees bullpen. But they've made it this far. And they've got some clutch hitters on that team. They really do. At least so far in the playoffs. So, Zimmerman, Rendon, they've got some players. Problem is, can they recapture that momentum, that fire? It's going to be tough. But hopefully we'll have a very entertaining World Series. Let's switch to football. We got about 6 minutes here. And my other disgrace, the other part of this second part of this Fred Sanford heart attack that I'm about to have is the damn New York Giants. Once again, for everybody who said Eli Manning was the problem, that Eli Manning was hurting the Giants, Eli Manning has lost it. Eli Manning this, Eli Manning that. Now you're seeing what I said all along. You're seeing what I said. It's not just Eli Manning. It's the team. They have a bad team. Starting with the coach. I mean, that was a complete disgrace yesterday. To sit there and watch the Giants, who had 10 freaking days to prepare for the Arizona Cardinals, who have no defense whatsoever. Didn't even have a turnover. 6 games and they didn't even have a turnover. For the Giants to make them look like the 85 Bears was a complete disgrace. And it falls on that head coach and that staff. 8 freaking sacks. I mean, they had Terrell Suggs, who's about 100 years old, looking like a freaking rookie again. Terrell Suggs couldn't believe it. He said, wow, I must have found the fountain of youth. Because I got a clear path to the quarterback. And that offensive line has regressed. It wasn't great to begin with. It was just better than it was the last few years. Because that offensive line was so terrible. So terrible. So it was better. But they regressed yesterday. They didn't block. They didn't block for Saquon. They didn't pass protect for Jones. They looked completely clueless. The whole team looked clueless. 10 days. You had 10 days to prepare for this. 10 freaking days. And that's the garbage that you come out with? I mean, no disrespect to Kyler Murray, who didn't even pass. What did he pass for? Barely 100 yards? Maybe under 100 yards? You're at home and you still find a way to lose? You put out a stinker like that? Can Ingram hold on to a pass? I mean, he was dropping passes left and right, wide open. Daniel Jones was putting it right on his fingertips, right in his hands. And I love Carl Banks, the great Giants linebacker. But to listen to him earlier on radio and say, oh, well, you know, he was out and he missed a week or so, and then it's tough because of injury. That's bull crap. I don't want to hear that. And I have the utmost respect for Carl Banks because I listen to Carl Banks. But that's nonsense. That's lack of focus. I mean, it was a freaking disgrace. And the 3rd and 18 debacle, the whole, I'm going to run a draw on third. Look, regardless if Jones saw a front and called an audible and audibled into that draw with Barkley, regardless that it only got 3 yards, why the hell would you not punt the ball with 4th and 15 on your own 35-yard line? You got about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. Why the hell would you go for it on 4th and 15? That is completely asinine. It's completely asinine. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then we want to challenge a pass interference. He hasn't won a challenge this whole season when it comes to those pass interferences. Has he gotten it yet? Has he got the message? They're not going to overturn that. So you wasted a timeout. Big runs by Barkley, negated by holding from the offensive line. They made the Arizona running back, Edmonds, look like Jim Brown. I mean, this guy was just running. I mean, he had about 3 20-yard touchdown runs. He wasn't even touched. What the hell were they doing these past 10 days? You can't blame Eli Manning anymore. Can't do that because Eli's on the bench. Just being Eli. Trying to be positive. Trying to help the young quarterback. He had one beautiful pass to Ellis to touchdown. And it's hard to even grade him because he had no help. Jones had no help. None whatsoever. Once again, as I said before, it's the top. It starts at the top. The owner, John Mara, then the GM. Amazing. This is really, truly the dark age of New York sports. I think that might be my next topic next week. We're going to discuss that. Because this is truly a dark age. The Rangers, the hockey star, they done lost 4 in a row. Checked out the Knicks the other night. Yeah, oh, well, yeah. They're really something to look forward to. The Nets have Kyrie, so it'll be the Kyrie show. KD's still not playing. The Devils, they stink. The Jets, they play tonight. New England, why bother watching, right? Why even bother? That's how bad it is. This is truly the dark age of New York sports. But New York fans, if you really, really are passionate about our New York teams, you stop going to some of these games. Hit them in the wallet. That's the only thing these owners are going to recognize. But a lot of fans, most of you fans, won't do it. Well, that wraps up our show. Thank you for watching. Once again, it's your boy Face. This is Game Face. We out.